market. So like if you hold anything overnight, you're just getting smoked. But like if you're just buying the gaps down, right? So they're just doing a little bit of what we call like a little. It'd be like they're doing a shake and bake, right? A shake and bake, which is right like you're getting these gap downs, and then they're ramping it back up, so you don't even get a shot to short, right? Like if you were shorting any of this stuff, like you'd be getting smoked. Then they're ramping into the close and just gapping it down again. So now the play that we'll have to, be mindful of is this scenario going to play out again, which is, the gap down and then, right, they push it into the red to green and then gap it down again. And that's actually very natural. Does anybody know why that's happening? When you're trending, you'll get gap ups all the time because, right, you have all the support underneath. Right now, we're in a range, so we're not even in a downtrend. So the gap downs aren't going to follow through. You're right. You're in a more. This is the penis in between us right here, which is like you're stuck in between a moving average sandwich, right? This is like this is a moving average. This is a moving average sandwich. Like this can be a little bit more tricky. So what happens is till this range starts to resolve itself, you'll get this kind of action, which is like you get a lot more gap downs, but then also because you're on support, you'll start to re-ramp, and that's like, and then there's going to be days, as long as we're stuck in this range, there'll be days where you gap up, and then you'll fade that gap. See, the thing with range trading is pure opposite day. Range trading is opposite day. What I mean by range trading is opposite day, say hi to Hootie. Range trading is opposite day in that, in a hot market, you're buying high, selling higher, right? That's just like, that's what happens. It's because it's momentum. When you're stuck in a range, if you buy high, then you end up usually selling low. And then if you short low, you end up having to cover high. So instead, you have to play a different kind of game, which is the buy low, sell high, short high, cover low game, which is vastly different and also the complete opposite of how you would trade like something that's either in a momentum to the upside or downside, right? So that's just like you're just a different tactics. So let's take a look at the earnings plays, and then let's see what's moving around, and then we'll get this thing going. It looks like Twitter's got a mega penis candle just coming out of this right now. Okay, so you got a chart breakout on the Twitter too. If you actually look, on a weekly chart, you're starting to get into breakout IPO breakout. Then this was like the biggest dumper ever, right? It was $75. They spent years. Twitter was just years just grinding down. Now we started to kind of re-ramp this thing, and it's getting into more of a trending environment, which makes sense, right? Like if pins is worth 50 billion, everything is worth 50 billion, right? So this is gonna be this could be a nice play. It's a little bit too thick of a play for me. I just hate trading this thing, but I would add it to the gapper list. You can get range on it. It's just like when you get these stocks that are like so thick sometimes, it's just Algo City. You got to really like make sure on your entries on what you're doing. Now, you guys probably saw that this GME had a monster, right? Like a monster push into the close. Man, why do I always get bored during the day and I go take a nap. And as soon as I went to take my nap, this thing just took off. My scanners were like just going like off nonstop, and then they were sending me texts. Like on TC2000, when your scans go off, your alerts will go off. They'll start sending you texts. If this goes, like you can see like AMC's going, I won't trade this thing. It's already up like 5 days in a row. But you want to, what you want to be doing is like thinking like, all right, which other ones are there? So last time, like a lot of these stocks started to go. BBW's over here. BBW started to push. You can see like the last time this thing started to cruise, it was like 18 to 54. Now you're starting to pull back. Yeah, I would add that to the list. I think that one moves a little bit better. You can see even cost is starting to go. Like this thing was 11 bucks. This thing moves too much for me. I usually BBWs works a little bit better. BlackBerry is another one that usually runs with this group. This thing was 17, went to 30, pulled back. Both of these, I think, are going to be cleaner. So we go BBY, BBW, double BBs. Yeah, cost is one of those ones that's it's gonna trick you. What I mean by trick you is like if you start getting too much range, it's gonna sucker you in. I've seen this happen so many times. I had a buddy of mine that was like short this thing, and he got like wicked out and by like 5 points, and the next thing you know, like he got pissed and took off for a walk, and it was at like 20 bucks. This thing is a no bueno. So you got BB, BBY, BBWs. Good. I personally, I don't think I would trade GME up here. It's just too whippy. It's too whippy. Like, I mean, if you do it, by the way, like, if say you're trading this thing back and forth a little bit, if you do it, like, you know, you gotta go in like maybe 1/5 size, 1/4 size. It may pop off at the open, but I think it still feels very trappy. Dun, 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 junk, 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 junk. Yo, so this Mara 50 run, these gaps have started to fill back, so you've remounted like your 9 EMA here. I think that this one is, I think this one's back in play. This one was moving a lot better than Riot. Riot's also hanging out, so if you look at your 30-minute chart, this is the level that you need to keep an eye on. Now, Riot's been moving like, it was moving real heavy yesterday compared to Mara, but I would put an alert like right before this 56, I would say 56.9, 56, 57 zone, just so you're ready for it. As soon as you rip over, I think this one will come back in and fill this gap over here, and when it does, it'll do it fast. So just kind of be mindful of those. Man, you're going to have a good spot on this. But I do think that, you know, Mara does move like a little bit cleaner. Yeah, you can see this thing's already starting to push into pre-market. Just something to be mindful of. If this thing goes, then we go BB, BBW, BBYs. We're good to go. Dun, 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 dun. Look at this stuff. All right, so Billy's got earnings out today. Chinese stocks have been hot all day. Chinese stocks have been hot all day. I think, you know, this one has been a big mover all year. Its ATR on it's like $11. So it's got a chance to get going. I think we add this. This is probably top of the list. We've had a lot of good luck trading this thing. If this thing starts to shred, then, you know, we'll whip back into PDD2. It's sitting on the 50 SMA. And don't worry, guys, I'll summarize all this in the end. You know, when you look at a million tickers, you got to just massage the balls a little bit on them. We go in PDD and Baidu, which has got like a nice location off 290. We'll go in with these if Billy starts to shred, because once one goes, like they usually will all start to go. Now, Billy's the one with the earnings, so it's going to have the best range today. But in general, like those are the ones that we got to be shredded. Workhorse, I'd leave Workhorse alone. Like, to me, that's going to be no good. A couple other names to watch. If these low float stocks shred, Fubo, which the location on the chart stinks, but, you know, this may be something It only if it starts to rip over this 9 EMA. Otherwise, you got to leave it alone. Those are the kind of the high short plays. I leave everything else alone. Let's just talk about trend trades. Trend trades. I think QS had a nice range on it yesterday. I think we get back into this one. It's a little bit sloppy, but it's starting to shape up. FSR, fuck, it already took off without us. FSR, as long as it holds over yesterday's highs, I think this one's going to be back into play. This Sun W was a monster yesterday. It had range from 12 to 16. I think this is probably a primetime candidate for red to green. That's top of the list there. Ooh, EBON. Let me see, bro. EBON, yeah, this is a Bitcoin play too. You can see the range on it. It's a little bit of a cheaper one, but you can see you've got a level over here around 9. I think probably that one has got a chance. Yeah, I'd add it. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. This PLL is starting to look like a swing trade. You know, you can start to see the range on this is starting to develop. I think as long as like you kind of hold over this 58 zone, this thing should start to make an attack back into the 70s. If it starts to go, then really, you know, watch for the remount on this lack. If it starts to get over these EMAs, it kind of pushes over this trend line. I think it's going to have a chance. If PLL goes, you know, they're in cahoots. They're both do the same exact thing. So I do like the location on, you know, both of these. But I think PLL's just got a infinitely better chart. What the fuck is going on? Infinitely better chart. This one's got a little bit more, I'd say, resistance on it. This Yala. You know, this thing has bounced right off the 50. You're starting to rebound here. So usually when you hold at the MAs and you start to go sideways for a couple days, that's usually pretty positive. I'd be shocked if this thing didn't start to like curl its way back through these EMAs. So this is something like on any kind of dip down, I would say like 23, 24s. You know, we may be able to come in and rip this thing on a swing. And then I think the GOAT JMI had a $10 run yesterday. I think we try to red to green this thing today. Yeah, I think we try to red to green this thing. We had a $10 run off lows yesterday. It's got the range. It's got the goodies. It's got the kibbles. It's got the bits. This thing has got the liquidity we need. I think we're going to be in a good shot on this one. A lot of you guys were asking about MP. MP, like, there's no... You know, obviously the swing is over on it, but, like, you can keep day trading this. This is one of a handful of stocks that are breaking out to all-time highs. It's got good range, and it's got more than enough liquidity. It's a day trading vehicle only at this point, but like it's got, that's, as trend trades, like that's probably top of the list. Let's take a look on the short side. There was a bunch of stocks getting, you know, a hit on earnings. Like you can see here, Best Buy. Damn. So you got a nice kind of 8% drop. Now you're sitting at the 200 SMA. So what happens with earnings plays? Well, you need an ORB or a quick pullback at the open. This one needs to get you can only take it though if it's under the 200 SMA. Otherwise, it'll probably squeeze. But plug power widens loss, revenues fall, shocker, right? But plug, these battery stocks, I mean, there's just no amount of good news can save them sometimes just because they're, you know, this thing was like $1 a couple, you know, 6-7 months ago. Hot. This thing is hot. You got to break down, pull back. This is hot. Add it. Now, the one issue with plug is it's thick. It's got shakeouts, so you got to always... Plug, you got to be a little bit more careful. You got to massage the balls on it a little bit on the trades. Meaning you got to kind of scale in and out because it's got a bigger range on it. It does look like this has got some room to fall. You know, the old low on this was 37. When these things have bad earnings, bad news out, like, you know, there can be a rush just right out the door on some of these turds. Plug, blink, turd, F-shell, double turd. There's a whole host of them that are just turdzillas. DP. You can see, so there's a lot of down, you know, we have like a longer term rollover pattern here. You see like this kind of like a head and shoulders on a longer term basis. This thing is Domino's Pizza, $14 billion market cap still. You don't have any support to really 30. Now my question on this one is going to be, you know, what's the spread? I have a feeling that it's going to be like a monster spreader on this one. It's got a hot, it's like, that's a hot pattern for an ORB to the downside. My worry on this is it's going to have like a $1 or $2 spread. Those are usually the ones that get me a lot in trouble. So I'll probably take a pass on it. F-shell, another monster turd. This may probably follow with plug. And frankly, it's a little bit easier to trade. I'd add this to the list too. If plug starts to go, we'll take this down. Then we'll take the goat of turds down to Blinkzilla. I got a revenge on my mind on some of these trades. Let's go get them. TDOC. So this one has a gap down, but like you're coming into support here. I don't know if that's probably something I'd personally trade. All right, we're going to kind of regurgitate what we need to. So we've got buckets for our trades today, all right? Buckets for our trades. What I mean by buckets is, first we have the short squeeze candidates. So that's going to be, right, your GME, your BB, your BBY. That's also, you can add in EH to that, FUBO to that, BB, BBY. They move the cleanest out of them. So that's like bucket one. Your bucket two is going to be your potential red to greens. All right, your potential red to greens. So you got JMIA, the GOAT, potential, right, red to green. Second one, Sun W, potential red to green. So you got bucket these up, all right? You got bucket these up. Then you got your third bucket, which is your Bitcoin stocks. So now you're going to have Riot, Mara, and Can. That's your third bucket. Riot, Mara, Can. Riot, Mara, Can. That's going to be your third bucket, all right? And then your fourth bucket, and I think probably the most important bucket for us, is going to be your Chinese stocks, mostly because we have, you know, we just trade them well. That's your next bucket. And then for shorts, we've got batteries. You got butt plug, F-cell, and I would even put RCL on this list for a green to red, and we're going to be good to go. Does that make sense? That's the list. I'm sticking to it. You don't even need anything else. You don't want anything else. That's the perfect list. I know you're going to have a lot of what about this, what about that, but I'm telling you right now, that list is beautiful. AI, bear flag right now, Vicky. I think it needs more time, brother. I think it just needs a little bit more time. It's, you know, it's pure bear flag mode right now. So, like, you want to be just a little bit mindful. You know, you want to be a little bit mindful on those ones. I don't have Blink on my short list. It's a turd, but I can't go against my boy Blizzy. You know, I don't want to slaughter that thing and give my amazing canal blessing luck of life and take his hopes and dreams down. There's no multi-time frame alignment. Cool. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Yeah, there's a whole host of these other things. I doubt I'll trade AMZ. It's a thick little bastard. Cool. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. So you got your buckets, you got your Chinas, then you got your Bitcoin stock, then you got your red to greens, then you got your batteries, then you got your short squeezes. All right? That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Let's have some fun in the chat room. I know it's a long list, but my job and what you pay me for is to look at all these trades and make sure we can keep track of them. Let's go do it. Let's go have some fun. Let's have a little pizza at the end of the day. You know what we do. And I don't actually mean pizza. We don't really eat pizza. We're not animals here. Good, good, good. Billy. All right, Billy. And guys, when the market gets nasty like this, you do have to pay attention a little bit more to the indexes than you normally would. Look, GME squeezing. So, right, we're gonna have to put all these on the squeeze list. Let's go have some